Good morning and afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another Inman Insider webinar. It's been a little while for me, so I'm glad to be back with everyone. I'm your host, technology columnist Craig Rao. Today we're talking about teams in transactions, more specifically, the value of communication when it comes to getting deals done. And that's what our guest is here to demonstrate. Joining us today is Ashley Walsh, co-founder and chief revenue officer of Shaker, prop tech that's built on the idea of transaction collaboration. And while that sounds like a lot, trust me, Shaker makes it easy because it's all about getting people to work together. What I liked about Shaker early on was its focus on making transaction management less clinical. It shouldn't feel like a tax return. In fact, nothing should ever, even tax returns. But before I admit to something I shouldn't, let's welcome Ashley and get started with a poll. How many disparate, disconnected methods of communication or storage do you currently have, such as CRM, email, text, portal, phone, Dropbox, e-signature? We'll give you guys just a few moments to fill that in. Ashley, how many of those do you use?
For client communication, I would say 2, because my CRM tracks my email, my text, my documents, all of that. So I only have to log into one place to get it, while I might use many of them
Nice.
in my day-to-day.
Great. Well, there's our first poll. Ashley,
Awesome.
over to you.
Yeah, I think we have one more poll question, which is, do you currently use any software other than e-signature or simple document storage to project manage your transactions? So when I say project manage, I mean your checklists, your document checklists, your task checklists, your emails to your clients, all of those good things that are a part of transaction management, kind of beyond getting those contracts signed. And you mentioning tax time just made me a little bit stressed.
I can't even, yeah.
It's sooner than later.
I am very number phobic. I don't like forms or spreadsheets. It's just not my world. And yes, it gives me severe anxiety. I'll pay anything to have my taxes done, like
I
whatever it
don't
is.
mind any of that. What I don't like is that I receive a ton of paper in the mail, and then I have to type in what was in the paper. And even though you have some that autofill, it is still a manual data entry processing coming from the worlds of forms and automations. Anything where I have to enter data that someone has already sent me really irks me.
That was a wonderfully unplanned segue into
Yes.
right document automation and making
Yep.
things work better.
Yes, absolutely, which is a passion of mine and my co-founders at Shaker. And so that is a perfect segue into talking a little bit about Shaker. I'm going to start out just giving you a little bit of background about us, and then I won't waste too much time with that. I'll hop right into the demo and show you how our product works. So again, collaborative and cohesive transaction management with Shaker. Shaker was really founded on a pretty simple principle. It's that better communication results in better experiences. Better experiences result in happier clients, and happier clients are going to get you more referrals. And we all know in the business of real estate, there's nothing better than a repeat client or referral. I'm also a big cost per acquisition nerd. So nothing better than getting those people coming back and those people talking about you and the experience that they had with you. And there's no better time to create that experience than during the very stressful moment of a real estate transaction. Probably one of the highest stressors in a person's life is purchasing a home and or selling a home. I'd like to think that selling a home is worse, but some people may disagree with that. But if you can make them happy, if you can make that go smoothly, if they can feel informed, it's going to be all the better for you in scaling your business. And so what we built at Shaker is really what I call a transaction manager with a light CRM. And so it really gets to the heart of, what your business is and the service that you provide your clients, but it also allows you to kind of stay in touch with them after the fact and make sure that they remember that. And so we've created a system that allows you to kind of automate checklists, automate workflows, automate email messaging while still keeping things really personal, and creating this client experience where they can follow along with the software and with the technology and stay in line on the timeline of everything that's going, and to help, reduce hiccups and also save you a lot of time in duplicating data entry and time spent doing repetitive tasks. And so with that, I'm going to jump right into the product demo, walk you through how Shaker works. Feel free to ask questions in the chat. I think Craig's going to kind of keep track of those and serve those up to me at the end. Hopefully nothing nothing too complicated to answer, but I will do my best. And with that, we'll kick into the demo of Shaker. So I have landed here on the Shaker dashboard. The Shaker dashboard is where you land when you log in. It's going to show you all the tasks that you have due across all of your transactions, as well as any check-ins you might have scheduled with past clients or leads that you have. You can also see any upcoming events that you have, as well as any upcoming closings, how many active buyers and sellers that you have in your pipeline, as well as kind of the value of that pipeline. The first thing you're going to want to do if you want to create a transaction in Shaker is to either create a new contact if it's a new client, or call up the existing contact if it's a repeat client. You can track lots of different things about your clients in Shaker. I'll pull up a contact record for you to see one. And on this contact record where I have Aaron here, I can see Aaron is a past client. I've done 3 deals with Aaron in the past. I can leave notes about Aaron, his family, anything I might want to remember about him. And I can also set up tasks for following up with Aaron at any point in time, whether that be check-ins after the sale, lead follow-ups, etc. Shaker integrates with Gmail, Outlook, any email service provider that you're using through IMAP. And so we can also track all of your communications so that you can always reference back to any communication that you had with a client, which is helpful for compliance. The same goes for text messaging here. You can also tag your contacts in order to keep them organized, put them into workflows or different drip campaigns based on how you know them or where they are in a life cycle with you. You can email and text those contacts directly from Shaker, keep track of their social media profiles. We have a linking contact feature, so you can link spouses or family members to them, and really just kind of keep track of that client altogether. So once you have those contacts in a list, again, you can see these tags referenced here on the right-hand side. So if you wanted to pull a birthday list for a particular month or pull all of your contacts in a certain zip code for a mailer, you can simply export those to a spreadsheet and stay in touch with them. You can also select specific contacts and enroll them in a workflow. A workflow is like a drip campaign and can be any combination of emails, text messages, as well as just reminders for yourself to check in if you want to make a more personal check-in, like a pop-by or a phone call. So I'm going to move on from contacts and really get into that transaction management functionality. This is what a lot of people adopt Shaker for. We have this Kanban style board, which I often hear, oh, that looks like Trello. And it is a little bit like that, but it's got a lot more power behind it. So when you look at this, I have 2 different project boards set up. I have a buying board and a selling board. You're not limited to 2, but this is just simply how I demo. Each one of these boards represents a process. So on my selling process, I like to put a contact in Shaker the moment they become a listing prospect and I have a listing appointment scheduled with them. My continued process is if that goes well, I'll move them to upcoming listing, active listing, pending, and closed. But again, fully customizable here so you can have any columns that you want. Under each column, There will be a set of tasks that you can automate. You can also trigger emails when deals move from stage to stage, text messages. And we also have this forms functionality where as they're moving forward, you can collect more information. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new listing opportunity. So I'm going to choose selling and I'm going to apply that template to the sell side transaction. I'm going to choose my buyers and sellers, Aaron and Ashley. I could click this box now to collaborate with them in our Shaker client portal, but I'm going to save that for a little bit later. I'm the listing agent. So if you're working as a team or if you're an admin, you can choose the agent who is working that file so that it creates visibility for the agent as well as yourself, the admin. I'm going to choose an address. And here on my form, I've also set up that I want to put in listing presentation date and time when I have that so that I can get that on my calendar. So I'm going to create this deal here. Quickly, you're going to see this listing prospect, Ashley and Aaron. Each card is really a file. So now I'm opening up my file for Spring Mill Lane. I've got here, all the details that I may want to collect on a particular deal. I can add notes here. If I have teammates working with me in Shaker and I want to say, call Aaron. I didn't spell that right, but that's not important. I can tag my teammate Adam and send Adam an email to make sure that he checks in with Aaron. You can also see on the tasks here that I already have tasks. They were automated from a template that I built to prepare my marketing presentation and to prepare my comps. And they're due on specific dates and times because the due date is relative to that listing presentation that I have. And we'll get into those settings and how those automations work here shortly. But if I were to win that listing appointment and that appointment went really well, I can move that to upcoming listing. You can also do that by dragging those cards on the board from left to right. And now I have this form here saying, okay, you won this listing. When is the listing date? When does that expire? This form, again, is customizable, so you can have different inputs that you capture when you get a new listing. This is simply just for demonstration. So I'll put my listing price in. I'm going to say it's standard photography, and they have a great garage. Don't want my photographer to forget that. If you want to track your gross commissions in Shaker, you can do that as well. So I'm now going to move this deal to upcoming listing. You can quickly see that I have a lot more tasks that I've assigned to me to manage all of that listing-based information. So, and there are tasks that are assigned to different people. So I should take a little pause here and just mention that if you're an independent agent, you can use Shaker on your own and assign all the tasks to yourself. If you are working as part of a team or an admin, you can create roles in Shaker and make sure that those tasks are divvied up based on someone's role on the team. So all the marketing tasks could be grouped together for your marketing director, TC tasks separate, as well as agent tasks. And you can also assign tasks to buyers and sellers. So really flexible in that setup on who owns tasks, but everyone on the team can go here and see where things are at, which tasks are complete, notes that have been left, etc. So got some tasks here that I've completed, really easy to see what's active and what's completed. And then each deal also generates a timeline. So I now have a timeline for my listing at Spring Mill Lane. The only thing I know right now is that we're listing on March 12th, but all of these other dates are upcoming. And as I fill them in, my timeline will reorganize itself. You can configure the timeline on a specific deal. So if there's like a specialized inspection for that deal, you can add to the timeline. But there'll always be a default setting. You can also store documents in Shaker. It can act just like a Dropbox for you. You can also invite clients to view those documents through the portal. So if you have document storage now, you could use this as a replacement. And in addition to that, we integrate with DocuSign and .loop to manage some of that e-signature functionality. So you can prepare documents for signature within Shaker or send data to DocuSign or .loop in order to kind of autofill those documents and reduce some of that duplicate data entry that you might have. But now that I have showed you kind of what a deal looks like, I want to go in and show you how to build out these automations and how easy it is to use Shaker to really kind of set up whatever process it is that you like and really execute on that and start saving a lot of time. So we do this in the deal stages here. You can see that I have a buying side stage as well as a selling side stage. These column headers here, or those are rows, but these row headers here, really, they represent the same as the columns on that Kanban board. So you can see I have my listing prospect, my upcoming listing. So these are my stages. And nested under each stage is really where the power of Shaker comes into play. So here on my upcoming listing deal stage, you can see I have a lot of tasks that I need to get done before a listing can go live. I have a lot of data that I want to capture when a listing goes live. So this field section here powers the form that will pop up. The nice thing about the forms is it helps you not to forget to capture pieces of information at the right time, but it also creates consistency for a team. So if you have a new agent that you've onboarded, they're really just dragging and dropping cards, filling out forms, and just following a process that you've put into play. In terms of the tasks, there's a lot of flexibility on the timing of how those can assign. So when you create a new task, you have the option to decide who's responsible for achieving that task, what role, what is the name of the task, and then when is that task due. Tasks can be due immediately when a deal moves from stage to stage, and it can be due any number of days before or after a key contingency date. So as we look here, you can have a task due 2 days before listing date, 24 hours before closing, for example. So you can really be flexible in when you assign things. In addition to that, when deals move from stage to stage, you can also trigger emails and trigger text messages. Those can go to your buyers and sellers for better communication. You can trigger emails and texts to vendors. I see people do internal notices as well. I see people sending sign orders, photography orders out of Shaker using automation also. So for example, here with my upcoming listing, when I get a new listing, I immediately want the seller to receive my pre-listing checklist email where I'm telling them how to get their home ready and what it is that they need to do. And I also want to trigger an email out to my marketing coordinator to make sure to schedule photography for this home. The message templates allow you to really input a lot of customized data. So for example, here, this is an example message template where you can see I have my buyer accepted offer email that goes out. I put the address in the subject line. I address the buyers and sellers by their first names here. And I also add the inspection contingency date, letting them know when that's due and some recommended inspectors that I have. The email message templates can be customized more than this that I'm showing here. You can add an HTML header and footer by default into your settings. You can customize a signature to automatically add to a message template, and you can add images or links to videos and things like that as well. But you're also going to have access to all of these merge fields, including every date on the transaction, really to build out a very robust communication system. Any email that triggers out from Shaker is going to be in the sent items of your email provider. Any reply you will receive in your normal email inbox. Shaker is just replicating that information for the purposes of you having an easier way to access it, as well as any compliance if you'd want to look back for it later on. You can also pre-attach PDFs or other documents to a message template. The same goes for SMS, so you're able to kind of build out those customized messages to go out by text instead, if you'd like to just remind people what to bring to closing or dates and times of appointments and things like that. Just a quick text reminder can be scheduled. So one of the few other little things that I really like about Shaker before I hop into that client portal, I think that client portal is something that a lot of people are really interested in seeing today. So I want to leave some time for that. But real quickly, we also have a calendar view. People really like the calendar view in that you can see all of your tasks here in green, all rolled up across all your deals. You can see, client birthdays and anniversaries, as well as in this dark purple area here, you're going to see any key contingency dates that you have. The Shaker calendar is compatible with Google Calendar, Apple Calendar, any email provider that you're using. You can feed this calendar data out there as well, so you can see that. Also of note, Shaker is also available on a mobile app for agents as well as clients, but all of the key menu items that you see here are also available and functioning in our mobile app, which is available on the Apple Store and the Google Play Store. So with that, I'm going to transition over to the Shaker client portal. I'm going to log out of Shaker, and I'm going to show you, if you were a client, what your experience would be like. So first of all, there is a button that you will choose when you're ready to invite your clients to the Shaker client portal. You'll just simply click invite to portal, and you'll have a notification that says your invite is out or your invite has been accepted. Your client will receive an email that essentially says, we're using Shaker to help communicate better and just share information throughout the transaction. Please create your account so that we can keep you informed. So once they receive that email and create an account, they will log in here and they will see any active properties that they are transacting on. If they've worked with you in the past, you can see inactive properties over here as well. So they can always access those files, former inspection reports, things like that if needed. Especially if they've purchased a home and then they want to go back to sell it, it's nice to have that information there, especially if they're working with you again, you've also got that information there. But if I open up a particular property here, I can see kind of a one-page view of everything that's going on. So your client's just getting a really succinct view of all the important things they need to know. First of all, any tasks that you need them to complete and the due dates of those tasks. In addition to that, they can see any documents that you've shared with them. So when you've uploaded documents into the Shaker document storage, you can choose whether that's viewable by the client or not, and your client will see those documents here. They can also upload documents to share with you. So if they drag and drop a file into the documents folder, you will also receive a notification saying, Ashley uploaded a document titled Seller's Disclosure PDF to her portal, and you'll be able to open and view that document as well. In addition to that, people really like this client deal timeline. Again, as you're filling things out in Shaker, this timeline is going to auto update itself for your clients. They are going to see upcoming for dates that aren't booked yet. So they know what to expect. They know there's going to be an inspection. They know, they're going to be responsible for various different responses and other things throughout the escrow process. And as soon as those dates are marked, they'll be able to see them here. Anyone on your team who you'd like to share contact information with or have it present and handy, you can assign to that file so that they can see, click to call, click to email you if they have any questions. And then another nice thing that we offer is a vendor directory. So you're able to upload all of your vendors that you work with, service providers that you recommend into the Shaker client portal. They'll have access to this throughout their transaction. And again, after the transaction has closed, if they need repairs done, if they want to do some remodeling, they can always look back to your vendor list and find those folks that you recommend in your area. I see a lot of people also use this to just put general contact information for utility transfer and things like that. So it's a nice added value to your clients to be able to have this. In addition to that, where you see the Shaker logo in the upper left-hand corner, you can also brand this with your own agency's logo. And it's a really nice differentiator, I think, especially like during the listing and buying process when you're offering up presentations to, talk about how you offer this added service. It's something that you're doing that not a lot of agents are doing right now. And then when they log in, they see your logo and are reminded of kind of that technology backing that you're also offering them. So this is my quick 30,000 foot view of Shaker. I know there's a lot to see, but I hope that you look at it and think that it seems pretty easy once you get it all set up to follow along. But I'm sure there have been a lot of questions while I've been very long-windedly talking about the products. And so I'll kick it back over to Craig. I think we've got about 6-7 minutes left for Q&A.
Yeah, if we do happen to go a couple of minutes over, that's okay. There's a lot of insightful questions here, and let's dive in. Cheryl Lynn wanted to know if we could upload a Asana checklist well, the templates from an Asana checklist into Shaker.
Yeah, so we have a lot of customers actually who have come over from Asana or similar products like Monday.com or even other transaction managers. And as long as you can get that into a spreadsheet, we can get that into Shaker for you. So yeah, the answer to that is yes, we can always work with you to do that. We also offer a concierge onboarding option, completely
Nice.
up to you, but that could cover anything from migrating a checklist, migrating your contacts from a previous CRM, bringing over email templates that you already use that you want us to pull in and drop those merge fields and things like that in as well.
Nice, thanks. Annalena wants to know if this would work for a big team with, say, 3 to 5 transaction coordinators. And meaning, can we work on separate deals, or does everyone have access to the same transaction?
Yeah. So we have teams as large as 30 with multiple admin staff utilizing Shaker. What's great about what we've built is that it's incredibly flexible and you can really design how you want to work. We don't prescribe to you necessarily how you should work. So when you think about multiple roles on the team, when I assign those tasks, I assign them to a role, not a person. So I'm saying this is a listing agent task. So when you open that file, you assign who the listing agent is. You also assign who the TC is if you have multiple TCs. And so that person working that file will get the tasks associated with that file. They'll see them on their calendar, as well as it also opens up the ability for different permissions. So if you don't want people to see files, they aren't working. There's a level there. Or if you want admins and TCs to see everything and be able to pitch in and, back up someone on a file if they're out of office. So lots of different flexibilities behind the scenes that I didn't dig into, that can really kind of help get things set up the way you want.
Yeah, nice. Lots of flexibility there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Candace wants to know if I could, if they can upload contacts from Follow Up Boss.
Yep, absolutely. You can send us a spreadsheet. You can upload them yourself through our import CSV function and map all the fields into Shaker fields. And even through Zapier, you can integrate with Follow Up Boss in that if you do a one-time migration, but you're still using Follow Up Boss, that any new contacts are also getting into Shaker subsequently once that first import is done. We have clients who have come over from Follow Up Boss and fully use us for everything. And we have clients who love Follow Up Boss, and the two of us play together nicely as well.
So you don't, all right, that makes a lot of sense. In other words, this doesn't have to be an agent's only software tool, right? You guys have built this thing to work well with others.
We can take in contacts from nearly any CRM that you might be working with. So if you've decided that you're going to use another program for lead nurturing and bring Shaker in just when the transaction starts to kick off, you can certainly do that. We do have plenty of people who still use us for email drip campaigns mixed with text messages, reminders to make phone calls. So you really can build out a cadence with Shaker. But where we do limit is that we're not connected to an IDX search functionality. So if a big part of your lead purchase and nurture process is putting them on, property search and suggestions, for example, we would be a better integration partner with the service you use there. But if you work mostly on referral and you're not bringing in a ton of purchased leads, then by all means, I think we can get the job done as an all-in-one for you.
Great. Malaya wants to know if you are able to add the legal description of properties when importing a deal or when setting up a deal. The legal description.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in any deal that you set up in Shaker, you can create as many custom fields as you want on the deal side. So if legal description is a field that you always want to have on a deal, if legal description is a disclaimer that you want to put at the end of an email, for example, you can very easily just create a custom field to bring data like that in. There's no limit to the custom fields that you can add on the deal side or the contact side. So if you want to capture every child's birthday and pet names and everything like that, it's totally flexible for you to do so.
Another question from Cheryl wanting to know relative in DocuSign transaction rooms, for example,
Mhm.
you're able to forward email of signed documents into the transaction room. Does Shaker have that capability?
So the way Shaker works with DocuSign transaction rooms is that you can open or sync a transaction room with Shaker. What that breaks down to is Shaker recognizes all of the same fields that DocuSign has in a transaction room, and we will map all of that data over to the transaction room when you open up that file, or bring it back to Shaker if you've opened the file in transaction rooms. And so it's just reducing any duplication of data entry, and also allowing you to open that file and send that data over, perhaps if you prefer to do it that way. In terms of emails, I don't think so, but I may be misunderstanding that question also. So
I
I'm
think
happy to take it via email and dive in deeper to that integration if necessary.
I think I did Cheryl's question an injustice. I think she was asking if I can just if a user can email a signed document directly into the Shaker transaction.
Oh, so what you can do is when you are in a Shaker transaction, you can see the emails sent from a particular user. You can click download and then drag it into the folder. So that's one way of doing it. With our DocuSign e-signature integration, those documents do automatically add to the folder as well.
Great. Uh, any questions that don't happen to get answered today, folks, feel free to email Ashley directly at ashley@shaker.io. That's
Yep.
Ashley with an E. And there's one last one I do want to get to. Pricing at the broker level. Anna is interested. Do you offer
Mhm.
pricing is for the broker level? Do you offer it for individual agents?
We have really flexible pricing. We are on a price per user model, but we have volume discounts every step of the way. So we have kind of a starting user price, and then price breaks starting at 3 users all the way up to hundreds of users, when you have a volume discount. And then also once it gets to that brokerage level, there's certainly some different packages and customizations that we're certainly willing to discuss, depending on how a broker might want to have things set up.
Great.
Whether that be agents covering part of the cost or the broker covering part of the cost, and how we can be flexible in that as well.
Well, unfortunately, we do have to wrap up. There does seem to be a lot of good interest in Shaker. Ashley, thanks very much for your time. I want to thank all of our audience for getting involved, asking all these great questions. We'll also help get your questions answered by making sure the folks at Shaker see them. But again, feel free to email them directly.
Yeah, happy to answer any follow-up questions that you might have. So feel free to email me directly and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Great. Well, as is usual with these Inman Insider webinars, that is a fast 30 minutes. So again, Ashley, thanks very much for joining us.
Yep,
Everyone
appreciate
else,
it.
yeah, thanks
Yep.
again, and we'll see everyone on the next one.
Yep, thanks for coming, everybody. Appreciate it.